We have to start to talk English now. I've talked Swedish for a while now.
Ska det vara på, vill du ha det på svenska eller engelska?
And we haven't seen each other, Ole, since it's a year ago now, I think, in Stockholm.
It might very well be so, and my God, what a year. I mean, it was my birthday last week, and I always try to be in a special place on my birthday, something different than just another day at the office. And last year we were going to France. We were trying to get out of Spain, going into southern France, where one of my friends, a whistleblower called Willem Felderhof, lives. And we were very uncertain, are we going to be able to cross the border because of this whole COVID crap that had started. And we didn't know if we were going to be able to, if we got into France, that we were going to be able to get back in. So we brought both our daughter and our son, just in case that we would be stuck on one side or the other. And I mean, just thinking about what has happened since then is just unbelievable. And now I'm here in Southeast Asia, I've created a whole new life here. So it's unbelievable.
And you're in Bali,
amount
right?
of things, the amount of things that has happened in a quite a short time span.
I remember when the whole corona outbreak started, and I was kind of, I wouldn't say depressed, but I was kind of worried about the future. And somehow I'm super happy today, and super happy and positive about the future, but I can't really know. I don't know why, but how is your feeling?
I feel the same. About a month ago, we had complete lockdown, not complete, but very hard lockdown here on Bali, from being the best place in the world before that, I think. And then suddenly overnight, after Indonesia borrowed, I think they were lent, I don't know how many millions from the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank, I'm not sure which one. And anyway, after that, overnight, suddenly they just hit really, really hard. You can see that it's a pattern that is repeated in many different countries. And going from a very open type of living to suddenly having, we were told there were like 21,000 soldiers here on this island. It's not a big island, I tell you that. 21,000 soldiers and then 400 roadblocks. So it was like we went from being super happy and calm into like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? So that we had a few days of where we got into fear mode. And then we regrouped. I mean, the whole thing with fear is that when you really look at it, it is the tool for them to control us. It's the only weapon they have against us is fear. If we're not fearful, they can't control us. That's it. So they're very aware of that. And so it's like, the old management by fear, that is the strategy in however different types of ways they want to do it. It's still fear, fear, fear. But the thing with fear is that it's only in your mind, imaginary, and it's always connected to the future, not to something real that has happened. You might be afraid of the past, but that is, your fear is that it will repeat itself. So you're actually, when you look at it, it's all in your mind, all connected to something that has not yet happened. And so when you think of it, being fearful, it's an absolute waste of life. And also worrying, I ask more or less anyone that is listening, how much has worrying gained in your life? Have you ever come to a solution by worrying? Have you ever? I don't think so. It's just the mind going around and round and round, the same thoughts, the same negative downward spiral. So it's like, I think that whatever the problem is, the solution is going in. So the way out is in. And it's in the mind that you can learn how to deal with these situations, so that at least whatever horrible thing might be going on outside of you, that at least you will be able to cope with it in a better way, and also make decisions that can be balanced and of most value to you, your friends, and your surroundings. So I think this is an extreme time where we are being offered an excellent opportunity to, they say 2020 was the year of the Great Reset, but that was what they had planned. I would say, is it possible that 2020 was the year of the Great Retreat, where suddenly people had to, slow down and look themselves in the mirror and say, what the hell happened to my life? Is this really the way I want to live? Is this really what I want? And so a lot of people have had time while being locked in. I mean, I'm not saying that as something positive when you look at the agenda. I'm saying that indirectly, you can also use it as a blessing to take the time and have time out and just look at your life and see, what do I like? What do I not like? What am I proud of? What am I not proud of? I think 2020 has been an amazing year of people becoming aware of the situation that we got ourselves in. And many people have this popcorn effect that suddenly, boom, they're on the track, they're suddenly aware. And many people are really becoming fired up, not in an aggressive way, but in an awareness process of what is actually going on. So, but the question is, what is really going on? That is, and I think that is why we meet today.
Yeah. So, Ole, you had a presentation, like I think it's 2 years ago, when you completely changed my mind. And I don't think it was even on purpose, because you had this presentation about the alleged terror attack in Stockholm. And in the middle of this, I don't know, 6-hour presentation or whatever, you said the phrase that later on would change my life completely. You said, if our world is round or flat or whatever it is, you said, and then you continued with something. And it took me 6 months to just like process, because honestly, if somebody else had said this to me, I would thought that person is completely insane. But since I know that you did your homework and you did your research about the topic that you presented, I actually started to Google this topic. And this was like, it took me half a year at least to even go into this. And from there, it opened up so many other things that I'm interested in today. And so I thought about the topics today could be something like, is our reality scripted? If we talk about, we have the news, we have the sports, we have politics, we have maybe our world, how it's, is it possible? Because a lot of my friends that are like into the same kind of stuff, what's happening in the world, and try to get some kind of sense of out of all this. Is it possible?
I mean, I think this is the major question. What is the meaning of life? What is life? What are we living in? And like a few months before my mother died, she had been reading more books than anyone that I know. And she said before she died, still confused, but on a higher level, and I feel still confused, but on a higher level than I was a year ago and a year ago and a year ago. And so it's almost like the process of life is to find out what is life about, because we are thrown into this reality, whatever it is. And the whole point seems to be that you are thrown in there without a manual, and you are there to try and figure out why the hell are you there. And on the way of figuring that out, you will be challenged with a lot of different obstacles, challenges, things where you can exercise the power of free choice, where you can decide, do I want to become a mass murderer? Do I want to become a saint? We've got all of the options. I mean, I can become a mass murderer within the next 5 minutes if I choose to. It's very easy. There's a kitchen knife just 10 meters from me. There, I'm sure I can find people out in the street to chop, 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 chop. I could become the most notorious serial killer on Bali ever if I wanted to. So the choice is there. Or I can aim at becoming the best version of me, aiming up or down. Do you want to go satanic, go down? You want to go become a higher spiritual person, the way most of us see it, then you aim at up, frequency up. But there's a lot of people that are aiming for frequency down, like in the power structure behind what we experience. There are a lot of them that the one that they worship got horns and likes a really hot climate, if you know what I'm saying. So What you're asking me is a question I have no idea about, and at the same time, I spent many years trying to figure it out. And along the way, I have seen movies that have made a great impact on me, such as Matrix, the first movie. And also you got the Truman World, Truman Show.
If you just take a little bit about Eric, because it's really interesting for people to know what they should look for. If you start with the Matrix, if we have some kind of then they know that what they can watch this weekend or something. What is so interesting with Matrix, for example? And we can take the next one after.
I think that when you look at many religions, many philosophies, many whatever it is, if it's in yogic traditions or many different, they've been trying to tell us what reality is. That's the whole point of these things. And in many of these versions, at least the way I've understood it, there is like you, the self, this one, you are in a meat suit, this one. You have different layers of energy that is powering this meat suit. So you got the meat suit, then you got the breath body, then you got like the aura, the different ones. And it seems like we got a pineal gland, which is almost like an antenna. And when you look at the body, it's almost like a robot. I mean, really, it's like a machine. It's got like it's got electrical wiring also. We call it nerve system, but it's electric wiring. So you talk to a normal electrician, he can understand the whole thing sort of from an electrician point of view. Then you got this, then you got that. And when you look at it, it is almost like you got this meat suit that is given to you by birth, but then you got the spirit as well that seems to be the one inside the meat suit looking out through these cameras or whatever you want to call them, eyes, experiencing whatever it is we're experiencing. But many of these philosophies and religions talk about your higher self. And I would say nowadays we have been blessed with computer games and computers and the internet, which suddenly makes it a lot easier for us to understand, I think, what is going on. Because in the old days, they would say, pray and your prayer shall be heard. Now we're like, just ask Google and you will be answered. It is similar setup, I tell you. And you got the computer, that's the meat suit. You got the hard drive, that's your brain. The processor is the brain. The hard drive is the amount of body cell memories you have in the body. So you are like a walking around hard drive with a processor, with a camera intake of information, saying it goes in, it is processed by your processor in the brain. Then you are in the side deciding go left, go right, whatever you're pointing. But your higher self, I would suggest, is like, if we compare to this like a computer game, that I am in a virtual reality computer game, this meat suit, but my higher self at the same time is the one playing the game, playing me, saying, giving me intuition, giving me ideas. Go left, talk to that one.
Now we're talking.
Don't go into that corner. Be aware. But my higher self, it seems like, is not allowed to communicate through words, because then it would be game over. This meat suit would understand it right away. Within 24 hours, I would have sussed out the whole mystery of life and whatever. So it seems to me like our higher self, the higher self version of this one, is only allowed to communicate through feelings and intuitions. So which must be very frustrating for the player if this is the down on the board game, but it's like, that is why it's so important for you to quiet your mind, because this one is just manufactured to produce, like, I don't know, 60,000 thoughts per day, blah, 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 blah. So you need to quiet that one down to be able to start receiving information from your higher self, which will come through feelings. I mean, and it's like almost the feelings is like a GPS, where the way through life your way, your spiritual truth way, whatever that is for you, Ronny, whatever that is for me, I would say that the way to find it is to follow your goosebumps. Whatever gives you goosebumps, if it's playing the drums, if it's whatever it is, follow it. I guarantee you it will be a hard way. It will not be an easy one. It will be filled with lots of obstacles. Lots of obstacles. It's the king's hero journey. It's the hero, where you go through that whole thing, but it is your journey. And I think most of us think that, okay, but if I succeed, it would be going from point A to point B in a straight line. No, the fastest line between point A and point B is like this in this game. And then maybe boom, and that was the fastest one. Then you can go all kinds of bizarre ways where you lose yourself. But the way to know if you are on track is your feelings. So if you start getting frustrated, if you start getting anxious, if you start getting depressed, that is a sign you're off track. It's just like the old echoes, I don't know what they were called, echo beep, beep, when you got off track, in a fishing boat or whatever, where these emotions tell you you're off track, get back. And then when you start feeling empowered, you start feeling, you start feeling the so-called higher feelings. That shows you're on track. You're on track. I'm not talking about smiling and pretending to be happy. I'm saying when you feel this passion inside of you, you're on track. Whatever that is, if it's for you to go into some bizarre little music store in downtown Shanghai and find that symbol, that you've been, that bass drum or whatever, which means nothing to anyone else, but that one have taken you all the way to the other side of the world just to find that little one. Yeah. And you are like, oh my God, that is your path. My path, a different one. Whatever it is, if it's a super baker, if it's to be an absolute homeless, whatever. I mean, so when you look at it, what is actually going on? And I think it's in this world of computer games that you start becoming more and more aware of, like, whoa, is it possible that what we're seeing, what we're actually living in, which they've been trying to tell us for thousands of years, is an illusion of reality? And that what we're seeing, we're the observer of the shadows on the line. Actually, the projector is behind us, but we are looking at but we are reacting to it as it was if it was real. And I think this is where most of us go wrong, because it's just like seeing it in a cinema, and you're seeing the movie being played out, and then you start reacting against it. It's like, oh my God, it's happening. Mm-hmm. When maybe actually it's only shadows on the wall. These are the old Greeks were talking about these whole things. And many of them are saying you have to control your mind. You have to detach from your emotions, detach from them, and start seeing it as an observer, seeing it as this is a divine play of light and darkness, where the whole idea is for you to spiritually advance, So, but here's where most of us go wrong, because we get too caught up with that's the whole point with the apple, everything was fine. Then some stupid individual got greedy and took a bite of the apple. It was a paradise. Somebody ate the apple. That's why do you think the symbol of the Apple phone is an apple with a bite of? Yeah. That is the greed. That is the ego's way. That is all of that. And that was the way to getting us into this mayhem that we are in today, if you believe that this is real.
Yeah. It's cool also with you said the big apple. It's also like a Taurus field. And you have, like in Swedish gods, you have Thor, the god. It's very equal to Taurus field, for example. So it's really interesting how you can connect. It doesn't matter what kind of religion you're into, or if you're not non-believer like me, but it still somehow there's a lot of connection in everything.
Do you know I've written a book called Mind Me, and that was after I took a very heavy trip of a spiritual. I forgot the name of it. It's like 10 times stronger than LSD. But I took it not as a trip like, whoa, I want to get high. I took it as a trip on how to expand my understanding of where I am. and it absolutely blew the top of my head off. And after that, it took about a week after I took this one. It's only like a 20-second boom like that, and then you come back down. But the whole thing, whoa, is like, for me, it was like opening up for download, direct download from above. And so a few days after I did this trip, I did it under very controlled circumstances, very beautiful circumstances, not a party, not at all. And a few days after, I suddenly started getting thoughts in my head that I was like, whoa, never thought that before, never. And I was like, whoa. It was just like things was just starting to download, really. I felt download. So what I did was I went straight home. I told my sweetheart, Kim, please feed me, stay away, leave me alone. And then I was writing for about 3 days nonstop. And it came out as this book, Remind Me, which I feel was more or less downloaded. I'm not saying that I'm a psychic, absolutely not. But when you listen to the word in spiritus, it's when body and mind align, spirit enters. And that's the download, click, download, boom. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the things in this book, I'm learning from it. I'm like, whoa. Whoa. And it's a tiny little book. It's a 1-hour read, but it saved some people's lives. I've had people who said to me, it saved my life. So in that book, what is combined there are all of these different religions, and also, but it comes out as a manual, as a game manual of life, your life. And so what is it we're experiencing? This is the big question. And when you look at how computer software works, and how you can generate algorithms, how you can often, they say as above, so below. When you look at how this macrocosm is so similar, like if you look at for instance, you look at the blood veins in your hand under a microscope, or the nerve endings like that. Then you look at a leaf from a tree, you will see it's identical. Then you go above and you see a river delta, it's identical. So it's like, boom, it's like it's being repeated. Then you look at you say, okay, this body is me. Well, is it really? Or is it like billions or even trillions of cells that is floating around inside of you, not knowing about this individual, just trying to do their day-to-day job? I'm here trying to keep the kidney working. Well, I'm a heart cell. Well, I'm a red blood cell, floating around, not even knowing that I exist. So I'm asking on this, is it possible that this one is a body cell in God, in the body of God? Meaning that's why everybody is looking around, where the hell is he? Just like a cell down in my kidney is like, where the hell is this Ole guy? I've heard of him, never seen him. I mean, prove that he really exists. We're here like, prove that God has a beard. Tell me, show me. Maybe we're inside of him. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're floating around inside the organism of him or her. So it's like, I lost what your question was. The Matrix. Okay, so the Matrix.
Matrix is one movie. Yeah, so that really inspired you. Right?
I think it's really funny when you do like this, because did you see Michael McIntyre, the stand-up comedian? He was at a red
my
carpet.
glasses are good.
No, but he was at a red carpet thing with his friend, his wife, and they were all dressed up and like that. And the next day, there were photos all over the media where he was giving the finger. And he was like, what the hell? I didn't do that. So he was just about to try and sue the newspaper, because he said, that's awful. And they said, no, it's you. You did that. I did not. And then they showed him the photos, and they had it like tick, 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 and it was he had new glasses. Yeah. Anyway, so the Matrix is
getting old, unfortunately.
I think the Matrix is also, Ronny, that is a mindset. I tell you, you're being regenerated every 7 days. Your eyeballs are completely new. So whatever it is that you feed that body cell memory with, then the cells are new. Your memory is saying, I can't see. So maybe if you start changing it, I mean, I was about to have glasses about 15 years ago. I just said, fuck this, I'm not having it. I can see, and I'm I can see pretty good.
I'm pretty sure that if I just leave my glasses, my sight will go back. But the problem is when you start with it, then it's, yeah. But you know, they always tell us that okay, if you can't fix your eyes if you start to, you know, getting on. I'm pretty sure you can. Just eat the right food and be healthy and stuff like this. And there is also a lot of training you can do for your eyes. I mean, basically everything. Basically, I think everything they say that we can't fix, we can fix. It doesn't matter what health or whatever.
Yeah, and very often I tell you also what happens is like if there are things in your life that you don't want to see, your eyes goes out of focus. And many times when people say, "Oh, I can't see," so they get glasses. Then if they still have the same mindset, I don't want to see these things in my life. After a while, the I say once again, I don't want to see it. Didn't you get what I'm saying? I don't want to look at this. So the eye goes out of focus again. So they need stronger glasses and stronger glasses and stronger glasses until the day when they actually look at what it is that they're trying to avoid. And then through different, you know, it can be rebirthing or different sessions. I mean, boom, the eyesight can come back. Kim, my sweetheart, she was using glasses. One day she woke up and could see absolutely perfect. She was like, what the hell happened? And she did that for a few months. Her eyesight was immaculate. But then she started questioning, what happened? You know, what was it that made? And the more she questioned it, I also told her, don't, just be grateful. Just be grateful. Yeah. Don't dig around too much. And then it came back again. Interesting. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying life is interesting.
And this also proves why they want us in fear all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Connected. Yeah.
So back to the Matrix.
Yeah, the Matrix, and then you talked with the higher self and stuff like this, which also reminds me. I don't know if you would mention this film, but I'm thinking directly when you talked about this. I was thinking about Avatar.
Avatar, the Matrix, the higher self. On your spiritual, I mean, there's so many different words, but I think for the same thing. And maybe not so much the Truman Show, but in the Matrix and Avatar, both of them are like where you got the person, the player is sat down, and then they connect him into a virtual reality. In the Matrix with a boom, in the Avatar in some kind of shuttle type thing, boom, they connect it and shoof. And this individual then goes straight into his mind, goes straight into the game. The body is still there, the higher self is still there, but the mind is in the game using this meat suit, being able to walk around, do stuff, jump around, whatever it is, but it's in a different reality. It's not the same reality, but they are ongoing at the same time. Listen, many philosophies and religions are talking about there are multiple realities ongoing at the same time. And there's different versions of yourself. What does that mean? I think possibly that is what it means. That you have maybe in different layers, you know, that the creator of your higher self is connected with the higher self into one layer of the game, and then the higher self is connected into another level of the game, into maybe totally different realities. Maybe some are in the Middle Ages, maybe some is on Mars, maybe some, you know, Mars. I mean, maybe some is in here. You know, I don't know. So, but this is what I find interesting with the Matrix. It's exactly that, where Neo and they get connected to go into that reality, to play out certain parts of what it is they have to do to liberate themselves. But what they're saying, what Morpheus is saying to Neo is that, please understand that this is the real reality is very different. And they show him, and it's absolute horrendous. It's dark and, I mean, war-torn, all of this. And he says, behind the scenes of this pretty reality is a whole different thing going on, where they're trying to mass produce human beings as a source of energy. And they say what it's all about really is, and he holds up a battery and says, this is in it. This is what. And when you look at, I think it's 70 trillion watts that we have with a body cell. So one person it's unbelievable the power that is in one single person. So then it comes to what we're going through now. So it's like, what the hell is going on? Actually, why are they doing these things? And I think that there are hidden agendas behind hidden agendas behind hidden agendas, layers upon layers, where we're not supposed to look at them. We're just being served certain, certain of the front layers that we can play around with. So, oh, conspiracy here and false flag there and so on. But it's still just a layer, because behind that is another layer, and behind that is another layer. So it's like, it's interesting, to say the least.
So if you look at our reality from this perspective, that raise a question: why are we dreaming? Because it's not about they say that it's for the mind to process everything, but what is this is what they tell us, but what is the real reason for dreaming, you think?
The real for dreaming when you sleep, or dreaming
when you sleep, because that is almost like a parallel reality, right?
I think when the dreaming itself, when you are so-called asleep, is just like when you defragment a hard drive. Mm-hmm. There's so many new impressions every day. I mean, when you look at the amount of information that comes in through the ears and feeling sensors, the feeling, the eyesight, the hearing that comes in, that needs to be stored and put into categories so that I can remember things in the right order and stuff. It is a lot. So once per 24 hours, they say time out. We need to defrag this hard drive, because we need to get rid of crap that is not needed, and we need to push this thing in and categorize it. So we need you out of action. We need you not to get more info. Lock off, shut him down, and regenerate. And so I believe that is what is happening when we are so-called asleep. It's also the time where all the organs get a time to detox. There's no more stuff being stuffed in there, whatever it is, drinks, alcohol, whatever. Suddenly they're time out for 8 hours, 6 hours, whatever you need. And during that time, this meat suit and the processor has a chance to be regenerated back into the best and most optimal performance form. I think that is what happened. And then when we are lying in there, we're seeing it being defragged. So we see all of these images and feelings and and that generates these bizarre dreams that sometimes have messages, but I'm not so sure about that. But I think depending on how powerful the impact have been from this day's experiences, if it's been a traumatic thing or whatever, it will appear, because it's a bigger part of what is, the bigger the impact, especially when it's added with emotion and smell. These ones are really strong in your subconscious. And then you have, like, I think your mind is the processor, your subconscious is connected to the hard drive, to the real external hard drive almost, where you have, this is where so many people think that if I go to the shrink and I talk about my problems, yeah, it's great. But you're talking with the processor, and the processor will just process it and say, yes, my dad was bad. Yes, I didn't have a pink potty thing training, whatever. I should have had a light blue, whatever. This is my problem. No, many times the problem is in the subconscious. It's down on the hard drive itself. So you need to access that hard drive. And this is where there's so many different methods through hypnosis and through different type of therapies and deep breathing and so on, that gives you access to your subconscious, which I believe is based on the cell memory of all of these millions of body cells joined together. Mm-hmm. Just like when you say you defrag, what are you doing? You're taking small little parts of the hard drive, move them around, or liberate them, or delete them, or whatever. And
you're also a composer and a musician. So when we compose, when we get inspiration, we actually create something from nothing. Do we create this in our heads, in our imagination, or is it actually that we get this somewhere from some kind of, I don't know, spiritual internet, or our higher self or something? Because
I think that
is the idea already there? Is it just that we kind of collect it?
I think it totally depends on from what mind space you come, or from what space you come. If you're in some kind of pop factory that just mass produces absolute crap, this one is the one producing it. That it's like just, yeah, and then you take 4 bars here and you take 4 bars there and you do that and repeat, you know, add a chorus, and yeah, baby, just do a good mastering and add some good whatever, and God, we got a hit. Okay, crap, 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 and crap. But if you got real music, I mean real music, and you come from an inspired mindset where body and mind aligns. I mean, I'm sure, Ronny, since you come from the music thing, you know that you can try forever and ever and ever, you know, hard work. I get, some people say I work between 9 and 5 creating music. I say good luck with that, because I can only say the way for me it works for me is like I've been trying that, and it comes out like the repeating itself. It's the same versions of the more or less. And then at some point in my life, suddenly I've been like inspired, whatever that means. And then a song has come like in 15 minutes, or I've just been more or less writing down the lyrics like boom, 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 boom. And they made sense. And it's just like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Or I hear something that activates it, you know, like I'd go by someone and they say something that just, oh my God, that's a perfect one. And that little comment there, wherever it came from, really triggered wherever it came from, this whole thing that just downloaded and boom. So are you inspired, or are you just pushing out crap? And I think we can feel the difference, you know, when you listen to the music. There's some things that just, oh my God, it's amazing, it's amazing. And then others just nothing. I'm a guitarist. It's like when I hear some people play, a few people play, it's like my whole soul resonates with that thing. No words, it's just vibrations, but it's just like this, like David Gilmour for me. Some of these, I mean, sing. And then you got like people that are super skilled and they can play 2.5 million notes a minute, and there's no feeling whatsoever. It just, you know, yeah, fantastic sound. So it's like, where does it come from? That's the thing.
It's interesting you mentioned this with this pop, you know, mass produced. There was a clinic here in the headline for the clinic was how to survive on your music. I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm not interested at all to survive on my music. I want to live from my music. It's like, it's completely different perspective of what music is.
It is. And then you will see also that when you hear many of these incredible hits, if you believe the whole story about Beatles and how the song Yesterday came, I don't know if that's true. I mean, there are so many weird things around Beatles and the Tavistock Institute and Fall and Paul and whatever. But if you believe the story, which is very possible, then Paul just suddenly, boom, or Paul suddenly received more or less Yesterday, like boom. And so he was walking around for weeks playing to people and saying, have you heard this one before? Have you heard it? Because I must have heard it. I don't know. Yeah. But it was delivered to him complete, boom. You look at Mozart, you look at his, the way when he wrote down music, there were no mistakes. It was like he was taking notes, you know, from really just downloading, writing down, yes, yes, and yes, hang on, I'm trying to follow, blah, 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 blah. And it just comes out perfect. Where does it come from? And then, is that your higher self? Is it coming from your higher self? Or are there sort of like a divine, I mean, many people get annoyed with the word divine or God or whatever. Well, look at it as a matrix, look at it as what is the internet divine? No, but it maybe works the same way. We have a more like a physical version down here, but it's like people say the internet, yeah, where is it? It's in the sky, it's in the cloud. What does that mean? Well, I can't see it, but apparently it's here. Yeah, but, and it's like, I have a question for you. How much does the internet weigh? How much does the internet? You've got so much information. What is the physical weight of all of that information on the internet?
I mean,
you can't.
Yeah, I mean,
you
I
can't
just
answer
think
it.
because a hard drive have some weight, but the information there is not. It's not more when you fill it with information, right? It's the same weight when it's empty.
There is
yeah.
no weight. There's no weight. It's a zeros and ones that it just changed.
Yeah.
And how is that possible? I mean, to get our mind wrapped around that one. I mean, it's unbelievable. And still we believe it. We Google this and Google that and whatever. And it's there. So there's this magic in life that we know, because the router is there. You can put it on and off. It's magic off, magic on. Fantastic. But we can't, many of us say, yeah, but that's a router. But when you take it one step higher and you start looking at them, at the magic of the nature, of the magic of life, it's like, and people say science this and science that. I mean, God, we know nothing. I don't know anything, like a normal worm. I have no idea from his Monday to Friday life. What does that look going down there? A butterfly, we know nothing. What a dog is they thinking? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? We're just trying to figure it out, through science. And science, what does science mean? It means like, okay, if I take a hammer here and I hit that one, and then this one appears, if I hit it enough times and this thing appears over there the same amount of times, I've scientifically proved they're connected. But we still don't know, we have no idea about the magic of life, where it comes from. And when we talk about computer games things, because I have a very strong feeling that we are in a magical virtual reality version of whatever it is. Can
I just ask, do you think that we are in a computer game, or are the computer games made from our reality?
It's a really good question, because I think it's, if you take LSD, you will see, and this also is like, there's a lot of documentaries about how our minds are part of creating our reality. When you take LSD, what you focus on grows. You look at the wall, suddenly you can have these psychedelic experiences of like a flower come out of the wall or whatever. If, let's say that this flower suddenly turns into a snake and it becomes really scary. I mean, it's real. It's as the reality I'm looking at now. It's that real, and other like Bufo and stuff. It's so real. But what you have, the only thing you have to do is move your attention to something else, and suddenly, boom, it goes away. And so, is it possible that in this computer game, whatever we focus on grows? And there's a lot of people saying that in quantum physics as well. Yet you activate that, and I think it's interesting also with games like Sims or Minecraft. I'm not into computer games very much, but like Minecraft, for instance, where everything is cubes, like pixels. But in that game, you can choose whatever direction you want to go. And when you start going in that direction, the landscape start generating in that direction randomly on a so I go that way. And sometimes I had this friend he was from Iran, and he was going back to Tehran, and he brought his son that was only like 3-4 years old. They flew to Tehran and they flew back to Sweden. And afterwards I spoke to the son, and he said, well, we went into this machine, and the machine went up in the air and down in the air, and then they had changed the landscape outside. He did not see it as he was being transported from one point to another P. He saw it as they went into this machine, lifted it, came back, and they changed the surroundings. And I'm like, that is interesting in many ways, because I mean, I am one that for sure does not know what is actually going on, so that I can say for sure. I can say in the reality of what I'm experiencing, I can say for sure.
Yeah, but that's exactly like a flight simulator. You are on the same place, but everything else is changing,
And also when you look at, they say that like when you die, they say. You have many people have had this experience of the lights turns down, but there's an end at the light of the tunnel. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And on the other side of that light, all of the people that have left the earth before you or left the game before you are there waiting for you, celebrating you, welcoming you. Is it possible that my mom and dad, who died years ago, were just players that sort of they fulfilled their mission or whatever, and they left this part of the game, this level of the game? They're just standing waiting outside for me to complete them. Maybe they're like, oh, come on, is he gonna do another 20
level.
years? Exactly. And then just like when you're in a movie theater and the movie is over, boom, the lights goes down, boom, and then you have this bright light, and suddenly, oh my God, grandmother sitting next to me. I was so into the movie, I thought it was real. And here, I thought you died. No, it's only on the screen. What about you? Oh my God, they're all here. Is that what we're experiencing? I would not be surprised, I tell you, because they also say passing over. What does that mean? That you cross a border? It doesn't mean that you are terminated, extinguished. It means you have now left this meat suit, this vehicle, and you have disconnected, like in the Matrix, disconnected, or Avatar, disconnected, and you're now on that level. The meat suit is no longer functional. It is lying there looking dead on the floor. And when you see somebody die, what happens is like after death, that body is just empty. It's an empty vessel. It's a very strange experience. Where is the soul? Where is it? And without the soul, I mean, they say, is it 7 grams or whatever that changed the difference in weight when it leaves? And I mean, I even have friends who died, had near-death experiences, or actually died, and then they've seen other people die at the same time. When they've seen like this gray energy cloud that has left the body with a tiny little silver thread following it, and then at the time of death, this silver cord is cut. It just leaves, just like the umbilical cord, but in a silver thread. I don't know what that connection is, but it seems to me that is the connection between your soul and this meat suit. If that get cut, then, and this is one of the things I strongly believe that they're trying now with vaccines, to cut that one so that the soul can no longer access the meat suit, and that the meat suit becomes more and more of a free vehicle for them to abuse or use or whatever they want, where the soul is no longer there. Everything else is working, you know, burn, go left, go right, yeah, but now you can order it. Now it's like a slave unit that can be used to whatever, for whatever.
I have a theory that I want to present to you. Because my mother always say to me, yeah, I can believe some of your stuff, but I don't believe everything. And I used to tell her that either I'm kind of right about everything or I'm completely wrong, because I kind of see everything, like everything fits together. And what I mean with this is, for example, we talked about music and we talked about frequency and vibration, you know, that they change from 440 hertz, you know, from the 432, for example, that they change. And 432 is divided by 369, like Tesla had. And if you look at all the buildings and churches all over the world, they have this swastika sign that's all over the world. I talked a lot with David Weiss about this because it's so interesting, because it's like a sign for energy. And you have organs in churches, and you have organs in your body. And we taught, you know, math, physics, chemistry, like separate part. Is it possible that everything is just this? There is not, you know, different parts. Everything is connected. Music, everything. You know, like for example, like in this, that they actually use the churches to heal people. That will have nothing to do with religion or whatever. You know, could it be like something like this?
I mean, I'm here to try and find out, so I will not say no to anything. Some things doesn't make really sense to me, but that could be that I'm not yet there to be open enough mind-wise to understand it. But I think that there's I saw this very interesting, very short presentation a while ago, and there was this guy from, I think it's called Tankecoachen, eller Tankesmedjan, I'm not sure. But anyway, what he was talking about was 3D, 4D, and 5D reality. And what he was saying was more or less that in 3D reality, that is where we've been for generations, in the matrix or in reality, whatever that means. We've been in 3D reality for a long time, most of us, where we believe in what we're being told. We believe that our parents, whatever they say to us, it's right, it's correct. The government would never lie. There is no such a thing as a corruption. The media would never lie. I mean, they would never say something that was not correct. And the police is there to protect you. The army is there to protect you. All wars are just, and as long as you just pay your taxes and obey and behave and don't cross the street if there's a red light, you're fine. You know, everything is fine. 3D reality. Then if you look at that almost like on a radio receiver, that's one frequency. No bad, no judgment, it's just a frequency. Then you got, I would say that there's quite a few of us that through inner work, through traumatic events, whatever it is that have forced us into start to look more inside of what's going on, we have started changing our frequency. No judging, no better, no worse, changing our frequency. And it's sort of, so we are starting to move in the sort of an area of frequencies into a different frequency, just like on a radio receiver. So in 3D, let's say that they're listening to Beethoven and classical music, same radio receiver, I'm over here, my neighbor is listening to Beethoven, I go through a time of confusion, which is taking me through this whole thing where everything is like, I don't know, I'm not feeling well, I'm confused, I'm depressed, I don't know what, drugs, alcohol, bizarre, I don't know what's going on. Something is weird with me, I don't understand. And then you come to what is called 4D reality, which is maybe a radio receiver of rap. So suddenly you are listening to rap from the exact same radio receiver as your neighbor who's listening to Beethoven. And at that point, you suddenly start seeing the world as, oh my God, what the hell is this? Everything is upside down. It's an inverted reality where everything you have been told by 3D reality individuals is wrong. It's, even if they haven't known it, it's not true. So what is being told to you as, or presented to you as bad turns out to be good. What is being told to you as being bad is actually good for you. And like all of this thing with like that politician, my God, he just stole $2.3 trillion and now he's promoted. And that guy who's part of a mass murder in Norway is now the head of NATO. It's like, what the hell is going on? 4D reality. And this is a very confusing time for many of us where it looks the same, but it's not. It's not. And this is where we start doubting everything. We start seeing conspiracies everywhere. I'm not saying that they're not there. I'm saying, on the contrary, it's the inverted version of reality. And when you look at the demonic forces, the satanic Illuminati, many of them have been working very hard for a long, long time to invert reality for us so that it would be totally upside down. And this is also a time in life where inner work becomes extremely important, because if we deal with 4D reality, but not healed inside, we will start getting very aggressive, frustrated, maybe violent, acting out or spreading all of this very dark information to everyone who doesn't want to hear it, thus sort of empowering actually the forces that are trying to hold us down in 3D reality. But at this point, I also want to say this is where workshops, meditation, all of these things are of such value, because it calms us down so that we can start saying, okay, let me deal with this one, because there's no way back. I'm sorry, you cannot go from 4D and back. It's a one-way street. So in 4D reality, when you look at the eye, also the physical eye, the light comes in, and then you got the lens, the lens breaks the light so that on the retina, you have an upside down image of reality. In 3D reality, our brain has said, that's very uncomfortable. I don't like that. So the brain has changed it around so that what we see is upside down in 3D reality. But our brain says, no, that's normal. In 4D reality, that trick doesn't work anymore because we are sort of becoming aware of, hello, brain, what are you actually seeing? And the brain will then show it's upside down. We're looking sort of at a negative version of reality. And when you say, what is reality? What is light? What is color? What are colors and so on? If you look at something black, that object is everything except black because it's reflecting black. It's reflecting everything except that what it is, meaning that a black person from Ghana is actually super white and me is pretty goddamn black. You know, which I think is really funny because the whole thing about racism and that is so funny. But anyway, but it's in 3D reality where these dark forces have us by the balls. They have us through fear, manipulation, psychological warfare, and it's through fear that they can keep our frequency at a point where we are listening to 3D broadcast. When we are in 4D, that's when they're getting heavy problems because they have been in 4D all the time, hiding there as well. And now we're coming up saying, oh my God, we see you. We see you. I see you over there. Oh my God, I thought you were a real one. You're not. So in 4D reality, we have this whole thing. And then 5D reality, if we continue up, we come up to a whole different type of spiritual experience of life, where suddenly you start detaching and you start seeing, is it possible that there is no such thing as good or bad, as evil or thing, but that it's all there for us to experience life in whatever form it comes, with all of these feelings and emotions and romance and dramas and traumas and whatever. And that these dark forces are needed for us to be able to have a free choice so that you can choose, what do I want? Do I want to become evil like the Joker? Or do I want to be good like Batman? Or is it just a play? Is it just, the whole thing is just an illusion? And so on 5D reality, you become much more like a lot of bearded guys that have spent many thousand years in caves and started to detach and see, oh my God, it's just a trick of light. And it's in 5D reality where I hope that I'm up there sometimes dipping in and out. And it's there where I sort of get the calmness to deal with the lower frequencies so that I don't interact in the way that I would have done before, that I try to detach emotionally, not saying that I don't care. On the contrary, I do care, but not in a physical way, not going into the dramas of the lower frequencies. And I heard the other day, I was really criticized by a woman who said, what you're talking about is like, it sounds like you're listening to an Aryan Nazi. You know, you are saying that you're so much better than the rest of us and we're down here, we don't have a choice, and that it's only for the select few, you know, that you will survive and we will die. Absolutely not. That is, I'm really sorry if that is the way I come across. That is not my intention. And what I'm saying is that another bearded guy, a guru, said in, I think it was around 2010, he said, by the year 2012, humanity will be divided into different groups. One will be at the train station, symbolically. I would say that could be 3D. One would be on the train. That would be 4D reality. He said by the year 2015, the train will have started moving. There's still opportunity for people on the train to jump off, run back to the train station, and for people on the train station to jump and do a runner, get on board on the train and boof. By the year 2020, the distance is so big that it's beyond, for most, it's beyond. It really takes a lot for people, specifically if they have chosen to stay at the train station in 3D. There's no way. And it's at this point where we are now, where suddenly, when I'm sure you've had this experience, when you talk to somebody that you used to be close to just a few years ago, you could talk about anything, and now suddenly it's like, what? There's this separation. You can talk about golf and music and X Factor and whatever, or food cooking, or as soon as you get into something that has any kind of real value, you're suddenly like in a trench war. Like boom, and you cannot communicate. It's like black, white. There's no grades of shades of gray in the middle. It is boom or boom. So once again, if you look at as above, so below, when you look at a microscope and you see how life is created, where everything starts with one cell, and at one point, for some bizarre reason that I don't know, life is created by this cell suddenly doing like this and bloop, into two identical. So I'm asking, is it possible that we are going through sort of like an voluntary birth diversion where humanity is going like, and it would be one version, no judgment. I'm not saying no judgment whatsoever. One part of us will go 3D, one part will go 4D, one will stay at the station, another part would be on the train. Because I tell you, what is interesting is that when you're on the train, which I'm 100% without hearing you speak, I know that this is your experience. When you are on the train, suddenly all of these people appear where you become real friends like this. You meet them, boom, you're my friend. In the old days, it could take like 5-6 years to become real friends. And then, but here it's like you have tested yourself, you've proven yourself, you've gone through all of this, you're on the train, and boom, there's this clear communication. You see each other for who the other one really is. You don't have to defend yourself or argue. You can just be yourself. And this is the blessing of this experience, I think.
When we talk about Sweden, for example, people, since I'm so open about everything I'm thinking, there is a lot of people that contact me that have the same kind of, even if they're not open with it, but the way people changed in Sweden for the last 2 years it's unreal. It's really unbelievable, and just in the practical life, that means that like 3 years ago, you talked with somebody in the phone and you say hello and you talked about the weather and blah blah blah, and today I have a handful of friends I can talk with for, I don't know, 3 hours or whatever, and they have to call me once in a week because they have so much stuff they want to like share, like it's, people are completely different to each other in Sweden today. It's wonderful in a way, and it's not only for me, it's so many people can witness about the same thing. It's really interesting.
And it's not only in Sweden, it's all over the world. I tell you, I get the same from people in so many different countries, exactly the same experience. At the same time, it's also it's a wonderful experience, but it's also a very heartbreaking thing, because you are parting from family members, from spouses, from former friends, because you have chosen different paths. You are on it's like 2 trains going towards 2 different destinations. And it's like standing, waving bye-bye to Titanic. I'm not, but it seems like, and now Corona has been this dividing force. It's almost like the vaccine has become this incredible boom barrier. Which one? Who are you? This one or that one? And there's no understanding. Both sides believe that they're 100% right, and they see each other as the enemy or the problem. And there is a difference, though. Say please.
Just ask you something about what you just told me there. Could it be that the very thing that separates us has to deal with the pineal gland? Because everything that they bombarded us with, like different kind of fluoride and radiation and glyphosate that they have in bread, like all this stuff is really, is it a war on our pineal gland, sort of? That, because that could make some sense why people are so separated today.
Do you know, if you are receiving a lot of really important information through your radio, and I'm the enemy, what do I need to do to make you not receive that? I need to destroy your antenna. That would be the easiest thing. If I destroy your antenna, you don't even have to become aware of it. Or if I ice your antenna without you knowing it, your receiver is working, but you're not receiving anything, you know, so you won't look into it because no, my radio is working, but there's nothing, I'm not receiving anything. So the pineal gland, if I'm correct in my interpretation, is the antenna inside of this meat suit, the one that is in contact with our higher self and the divine. If you want to call it the divine, the matrix, the power source, you know, like when you hear in the Old Testament and many of these old books, one of the first thing they say, and the first thing of all was the word Om. Okay, if you go to a high voltage station, when they switch on the voltage, wow. What is the word? If you go close to it,
wow.
And so I say, is that what it's all about? And so it all started with them switching on the power. That is what I think that makes everything go. And it's the polarities that are needed, you know, plus and minus, black and white, good and evil. All of that is needed for this whole apparatus, this whole theater, this whole spiritual university to work. So we need these things. So I lost the thread. What were we talking about?
Yeah, the pineal gland and
the pineal gland.
Yeah.
So just like you say, fluoride has been used for a long time. Why are they using it? Is it because they care so much about our teeth? I don't think so. When you look at, they were used they're used mostly in prisons, in mental institutions, in areas of the world, flat all around, where you got like strong individuals. Like Ireland is one of the most fluoridated countries in the world. You got the native Indians, you got tribal, many of the areas where you know that these are powerful individuals, hit them with fluoride. And in Sweden, no fluoride at all, as far as I know anymore, because they come to the Swede in different ways. You know, they reached through propaganda in a way that when you look at Sweden, it's a very interesting nation, but I would say a laboratory on how to control the masses in subtle ways, but very powerful ways. So
it's funny that you mentioned Ireland, because the last episode I did on my channel was with a friend. He's from Ireland, and he's like having all these psychic abilities and stuff like this, but he never, that's another topic. But it's interesting that you mentioned just Ireland. I will tell him this. It's really interesting.
You know, I got a beautiful friend on Ireland. He's a radio host called Sean Maguire. And he's got the show is Out of the Box. I think, Out of the Bag. And he, for years, he has not paid his water bill. And the reason is because it's not water. And he has written to the water company saying, the minute you deliver water to me, I will pay it. But it's not water. It's so heavy contaminated with fluoride that it doesn't count as water anymore. So then you have, in Sweden, it's not through the water, but Sweden has been hit so hard with chemtrails for such a long time. I mean, you can't see it because it's so often it's gray and clouded, so you cannot see the chemtrails except on a blue day with a blue sky. In other countries, I mean, I used to live in southern Spain, we could see it so clearly, clear blue sky, and then boom, 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 boom. But I've seen it many, many times when I've flown into Sweden, and so it's heavily hit. And there's one operation that my friend whistleblower Cody Snodgrass has exposed called Operation Skyfalls. I think it's Operation Skyfalls, where it's exactly that whole thing, where the aluminum in the chemtrails are there to get into the body, and where the body is trying to defend itself. And one of the ways it does is by calcifying organs, calcifying different parts of the world, including the pineal gland. And he says that operation is was specifically targeting the pineal gland. Then you have now with some of the nasal swabs for the corona test, I tell you, stay away from these tests. I mean, they are terrifying when you look at them. And I'm part of a group that meets every Tuesday online here, a little support group, but these are heavyweights like Dr. Dolores Cahill, Dr. Christian Northrup, Dr. Andy Kaufman, Dr. Karen Madej, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, a lot of that. We are sort of like 10, 15, and I'm sort of been invited. I'm so not in that area, but it's incredible for me to hear from the inside. And what they're talking about is the exact same thing, that there is a war about the pineal gland. It's a spiritual war above the physical level. And one of the things on these nasal tests are what is called DARPA gel. On some of them, I'm not saying everyone, there's at least 64 different vaccines and many different manufacturers of these tests that have shown that they have absolutely no value. The PCR inventor Kerry Mullins said it multiple times before he very conveniently died, before the corona went live, that you cannot diagnose a disease with that. You cannot. And still the whole world is based, the diagnosis on COVID or not COVID, on the CPR test. So it's very interesting to see these tests, what is in them. And you will see that we've done tests on a microscope, and I know people who have found, like things are moving at the end of the tops of these nasal things. And also there's also something called DARPA gel, where you push it up. What they do is they really push it very hard. Why are they doing that? It should be enough, if it's only the so-called alleged virus you're looking for, to spit on it. That would be it. But that's not what they do. They do a real mouth swab, I would say, for the DNA. And then they push it up and they squeeze. I mean, people have had serious nosebleeds afterwards. And some people have even started leaking liquid from the brain cavity, where that's supposed to be up there, And I say, the brain, I think, is pretty vital to most of us. So don't mess with it. But what they've seen is that the ones with DARPA gel, when it comes up there, you can see under a microscope that this fluid starts crystallizing, and it's like through the magnetic field around you, it's attracted towards the pineal gland, and it's doing stuff to the pineal gland that is not beneficial for you. I want to say there is something called ivermectin that I've seen reverse that whole thing very drastically. Very incredible miracle medicine, ivermectin. Please write it down. It's the same ivermectin used for animals and humans. Don't worry about it. It's 0.3 per kilogram of your body weight, and there's no side effects, and it's been labeled one next to antibiotics, one of the most miraculous medicines ever found. But it's very cheap to manufacture. So big pharma are really trying to shut it down.
When you talked about the water, you are told that you need to drink a lot of water, to be healthy. Could it be that there is some kind of agenda behind that as well, that they actually want us to drink a lot of water because it's so polluted?
For sure. I mean, but I tell you, there's one interesting thing for me there,
because they don't recommend anything that makes you healthier. That's for sure.
Yeah, that is a really good point of view. Also, because they're trying to. There's some of these massive corporations that are trying to take over the water reserves globally. I mean, they're buying up the water underneath people's homes, and it's because through the water, if you can control the water, you control life. Because without water, no life. That is the thing that is needed for life. It's a miraculous thing that we take for granted. We just say hello, Brooks, and just throw it out or whatever. It's a miracle fluid. I love water, but I have a problem drinking it because I don't really like it. And they say, you have to drink 2 liters, you have to drink 3 liters. I'm like, oh God, really? So in one way, it's a way of getting people to use more of it. Yeah. So, and when you look at now, I mean, 30 years ago, if somebody tried to charge you for a glass of water, you would say, really, really? They started in Sweden with it, as far as I know, where suddenly you charged in the restaurants. So it was like, are you kidding me? And that whole thing has turned into a multi-billion, trillion-dollar industry where people drink this bottled water. So what does the water come in? They come in plastic bottles. Where does the plastic come from? It comes from the petroleum industry, the oil, big oil. That's the manufacturer. And so what is going on here? They take a totally free liquid and they charge you for putting it in a bottle that they manufacture from their own thing. So you are buying for something that you should naturally get. I mean, it's the perfect marketing ever. At the same time, a while ago, I was feeling really, really exhausted. I was starting to lose my joy of living and stuff. It was after we came here to Bali, and I was on my knees energy-wise. I was worn out. And so I was giving some underground lectures here in Bali, and there was in the audience, there was this doctor who said, listen, if you want to, I can have a look at your blood and see how you're doing. So I went there, very great.
Ole, now your sound disappeared. No, I think it's back.
Hang on.
Yep.
Okay. So can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So so this doctor has what is called blood cell analysis, where you take a blood sample and just one drop of blood, you put it on what is called a dark microscope, and you get it up on a screen, like in this case, a big screen, TV screen. And it's absolutely super, super interesting to see your blood, because that is what is going on inside of you. The blood, very important as well. You don't have the blood in the body, it's dead body, it's game over. So you really, really need it, and you need it to be good. So that it's good to transport things around in the body, like oxygen, you need that as well, otherwise it's game over. And so your blood cells, the red ones, are supposed to float around free, sort of round things that can take a lot of oxygen and transport it around in the body and supply it wherever it's needed. And also the liquid where it's floating around in is supposed to be totally clear. And that's sort of one of the major things inside of you. If the blood is messed up, you are messed up. So she showed me all of these images of this is the way your blood should look like. And then we looked at my blood. Oh my God, that was not a nice experience, because my blood it looked anything but that. You know, my blood cells were stacked like pancakes, or it looked like coin, and totally, and the fluid was not clear, and it looked like a tiny spider web, which turned out to be candida. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so she said, not good, not good. I said, what can we do? What can we do? She said, not a problem at all. So she put me on heavy C vitamin intravenous dosage, 40 grams per week. And then I had ozone therapy, which is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. You hook up to sort of like a machine, an ozone gas machine, where you take your blood out and you let your blood get gassed sort of with this gas, and then you pump it back in, and then you take a few cycles in and out. And what it does, it just cleans you with no side effects. So within a few months, I'm back, you know, everything is super duper. But one thing that I noticed, we were talking about water, was that the first time I came there, I did not drink a lot of water. And my blood was like almost reddish blue and slow flowing, not happy. And then I spoke to the guy who was there, and I said, do you know, what can I do? He said, drink water. I said, but how much do I have to drink? He said, 3 liters per day is good. I was like, oh, you must be kidding. I have a problem drinking half a liter. Nobody said, if you do it, you will see the difference here. So I did it.
But did you clean your water then? Or because, I mean, yeah. I think, of course, we need water, but it's a difference between something that's clean and this tap shit that we get.
No. We have that's one of the things we brought here to. We only took the most essential. No, we had one bag each, more or less, coming here to Bali, and one of them was our water distiller.
Yeah,
My sweetheart
cool.
Kim, she brought the water distiller, and then with socks inside and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we clean the water for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, after when I tested my blood the second time after a month, I had been drinking a lot, and the blood was like so happy, free flowing. The difference was incredible. So one of the things that I found out, and Kim taught me, or whoever it was that there's a reason why in bars you get a straw, because in a bar, the owners want you to drink a lot. So you think, oh, party, and a little umbrella. No, it's because you drink so much more without thinking of it. So with a straw, I have a thick straw like this, a big straw. And for me, to drink a glass like this, it goes like in 2 sips, boom, boom. If I have to drink it like this, it can last for hours. So just with a straw, I've been able to add up the amount of water that I drink per day a lot. I don't even think of it anymore.
Cool.
So that's a good one to know. So, but this whole water thing, there's a war going on. There is a war going on all levels. It's air, water, food, psychological attacks, military attacks, governmental attacks, vaccine attack, you name it. I mean, we are being hit right, left, and center from all different directions at the moment. So we just need to become aware and learn how to surf these waves, because they're heavy incoming waves and they can come from any direction at any time. So this is why I feel that the inner balance is of great value, because the better you can balance, the smoother you can move away instead of being static and I'm not going to do it. You break. Look at trees. You hear in the tropical climate, you got like palm trees. They're really soft, but my God, they can take tornadoes because they just follow. You got like a fir tree in Sweden. If you got a storm, boom, it cracks.
But isn't it funny that they have to do so much stuff to us? That is to me, that is super positive, because that really proves that we are actually improving as people, or as a person, like that we are developed mentally and spiritually and just like human beings. And don't you think that we will come to one point where even these people that spraying and do this stuff, I mean, at one point they have to realize that it's also their families and friends that's going to suffer from this, right? It should come to a point where they are so few that do this to us. They can't do it anymore.
Or maybe we're just part of an experiment. I mean, sometimes I feel like, they talk about black holes and white holes out in space. Is that black hole they say material is just disappearing out of it, and then it comes in through white holes. Well, if you look at an aquarium, you got like an exit for the air in and one out. Is that what it is? Is we under some kind of massive dome and they're standing on the outside? Okay, let's see. Let's heat it up a little bit. No, they're still moving. Okay, let's try some chemtrailing. No, let's try some radioactive. What about now? Well, still moving over there. Let's do this. Let's do that. What the hell is going on? It really is like when you look at what's been going on, there's been done a lot of military experiments on the population from the 50s and onwards. There's been all kinds of weird, bizarre stuff, almost like we're being used as guinea pigs. And so what is going on? I don't know, but it's just bizarre times if you try to make some kind of sense out of it.
It's funny that you mentioned this dome, because then we are into this Truman Show again. Because in the Truman Show, he lives under this dome, and I have to ask you this question, because there's something that I thought about for a long time. Because I'm not a Christian person, but I have friends that are Christians, and to me, with these glasses that I use now, that I question everything about our reality, it's really interesting what they tell me from their perspective. And one thing is, as you mentioned, the dome. And there was just one time something hit me, and I was like, could it be like this? It's in the Bible, they talk about the Noah's Ark. is it possible that they even, as they do with everything, that there is the truth is in plain sight, but still they kind of twisted it so we don't understand it. Is it possible that Noah's Ark means Noah's Ark, like an ark, like this?
You tell me.
It's kind of interesting, right? That is the same word. And you have the ark, and in Paris, you have this triumph. You have an ark, you know, and the ark is looking like a magnet, and it's in the center of Paris. And then you have, again, if you connect it to what we're talking about, it's looked like a motherboard, the whole town. And you have the ark, and you have a magnetic field. You have a torus field that's magnetic. You have the gods Thor, and you have the Noah and Noah's ark. If you want, you can connect everything. I don't know if it's right or not, but at least there is some kind of logic to everything.
It's when you look at the Freemasons, they are very much into these energy things and numerology and locations and specific spots and you know, what is that all about? But anything that is occult, the only thing occult means is that it's hidden. You know, and these forces have been hiding the truth from us. We think that it's a cult that is bad. No, I would say a lot of the things that are hidden from us are good stuff, but it's hidden occult, you know. So it belongs to us, but it's been taken from us, and it's for us to find out what is actually going on. And I think that there's a lot of these energy things that we have no idea about, you know, that is being hidden from us. And I think, you know, with these things, for sure, it could very well be true. Why would they spend millions building buildings like that? Why would they put such an effort into pyramids and obelisks and the location of where exactly they are and what they're pointing at? And so why would they do it? I mean, they might be psychopaths, super psychopaths, but they're not stupid. And so there is often a reason for it. And if you look at, for instance, a Buddhist temple, compare that to a generator. I mean, it is almost an identical match, you know, but it's like we're sort of like, a generator. And the churches, what the hell is up with these, you know, these church towers? They look like rockets or minarets or obelisks, or what is going on with these antennas? Are they, and you will see that many of the Swedish churches as well, they're on very specific points where they've been placed. Is that just by coincidence with the ley lines and the crossings? And I think there's a whole lot that we have absolutely no idea about. Maybe these ley lines and so on is part of the board game that we are playing out this reality on, and it's there. You know, like when you go to a fun fair and you drive the electric cars, these radio things, they had to have this underneath to drive them. The electricity is hidden underneath and then connected from above, and suddenly, boom, you can get it working. Is that what is going on with these ley lines? That we are in this simulation, and the whole thing is for us to figure out, oh my God, it's a simulation, just like the Truman Show. And do you know who was the producer? It was Paul Rothschild was the producer of the Truman Show. And so what he's talking about, and now some people that are not stupid either, they're saying that they are starting to believe is that there's a handful of us that are sort of Truman, and that most other people, or what seems to be people, are just background actors, you know, as just walking around in loops. And if you look at many of our lives, we are looping. You know, we go to work the same day, we go to the same day, we do the same day, we do the. Is that just background activity in what is actually the real thing? I used to be a background actor in movies and commercials, you know, on Mallorca. There was something called Palma Pictures there. That was where I learned about how force-like operations are set up, because I saw the similarities. But background action is like, I was there many times, you know, walk from point A to point B when they say background action. And then the real action is going on in front of the camera, which I couldn't often see what was going on. I was just part of the background. What is going on? I don't know, Ronny. I'm trying to figure it out while enjoying life.
Yeah. because life, to me, life's never been so interesting. Now don't have any answer on anything, but I have like millions of questions, and so let's say that we got some people that just curious about everything and want to like discover and research our reality even further. And you're as everybody know, you're an expert on false flags. The most common question I get, the most common question I get is, what do your friends think about this when I talk about everything I'm talking about? The second most common question is, they ask for links, or what should they start to research and whatever. I mean, with your expertise, as we talked about before we go into this show, that you can show people, like, you know, evidence what's in the vaccine and everything, but you don't reach them with facts. It's so sad. But could it be that you can like try to come up with some kind of something that they may, it's interesting for them to kind of research, and from there go to other areas and stuff. So my question is, could you like just say a couple of things that people should start to research or investigate to get, if they are interested in this, at least if they have start to think about there is something wrong, you know, the whole this reality, all this corona is, it doesn't matter. They don't know what it is, but they just feel not ease, like an unease about everything.
It depends on if this individual is in 3D. It's not worth. It's, if you like pain, go for it. You know, because there will be no communication, and that individual will fight for that perception of reality. And you will be the enemy, you will be the weird one, and there will be no interest in listening to anything on what you're presenting, saying. It doesn't matter if it makes any sense, whatever. It doesn't matter if you can pile up evidence up here to the moon. It's not going to happen. So I would say I never try to persuade anyone. That's not true. I try to persuade people when they're just about to take the jab. In these cases, I feel this is urgent and I need to reach this individual because this individual hurt themselves. So I want at least that they are aware of what they're doing, you know, let them know what's in it so that they can take a grown-up adult decision. Yes, this is what I'm going to do, or not. So, but normally I don't try to persuade people. I normally don't, I would say, knock gently on the door. Just throw a little seed out there. See, is there an interest? You know, is this, you can just throw a question out there. And then depending on how that person answer it, you will see this is somebody who's sort of like, whoa, are you also interested? Because I'm confused over here, you know. Then you have a door that is open up, and then you can start having a conversation. If you throw it out and you just hear right away, boom, the door is closed, don't even go there. Do not even go there. And this is really hard because very often when you sort of become more aware, people say awake, I would say aware. The first thing you do is look up your best friends, your spouse, your parents. Now, listen. And they will look upon you. I guarantee you, as you turn into some kind of Jehovah's Witness or whatever, you know, like, oh my God, what happened to him? He used to be normal 3D. Now he's saying all of these weird things 4D. There's something wrong with him. He must be medicated. He's dangerous. He's threatening the way we see the world. 3D, 4D, no judgment, different, just different. They believe that they're doing the right thing. We believe that we're doing the right thing. Maybe they're right. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe, you know, in this, who knows? I just know in my heart, this is the road I have to go. And so I would say, instead of trying to push anything on anyone else, try to live by example. You know, show that you can live your life in joy and happiness, be of value for your friends, your family, your community, be somebody that people can come to if they are in despair, or if that you will be there, you know, that you can surf these waves. And then if you do it in the right way, people will start coming to you. And this is my experience, at least. I mean, I come from a very, very lonely life, and now I'm reaching millions. How did that happen? I didn't even try to persuade a single person hardly, but I've been trying to do what is right in my life, the correct thing, to live by the heart and led by the heart. And this is what I think resonates with other people who wants to live the same way. And so there's this another bearded guy called Sadhguru, and he has thousands and thousands of people working for him for free. And so there were some American, what were they, investors or whatever, they came over to visit the ashram, and they saw all of these people working for him for free, and they were like, holy shit, how do you? So they thought right away, how are we gonna? We have to find out the secret, so we can start getting people to work for free for us. And so Sadhguru said, it's very simple. You just love them. Love them. Whatever you do, love them. Sooner or later, they will capitulate. They will surrender. And when they feel loved, they will come to you. But just love them. Love them, whatever happens. And he said it's not easy because, I mean, they work for free, so I can't even fire them if they're really useless at what they're doing. But it's like what he's saying, I think, is like it has to start from you, what you send out. Because if you come from conspiracy facts and horror and everything you believe in is a lie and it's awful and we're going to die and it's the end of times, I mean, who wants to be close to someone like that? What are you sending out? If you do that, the other person feel comfortable, relaxed, seen, loved, then they start relaxing, and then you start having a meeting, and then you can start communicating. So this is one of the reasons when I go on tour, I stand outside. I think you've seen me. I stand outside. I say hello to every single person. If they're in the hundreds, I hug every single one, and it's such a joy. What I'm actually doing is I see you. I see you. I feel you. I am here for you. And just that on its own, I think it's much more important than maybe all of the words that I later said inside, because it gives people hope, because so many people are so lost and so alone, and so nobody's listening and very confused. These are very confused times. So when they suddenly feel seen and heard, and that, oh my God, they can start relaxing, and then you have a communication, then there's an exchange of energy. So forget about all of look at that. I mean, of course, I can give you a lot of tips about what would be good. I mean, many of these are no-brainers that are good. I mean, once you start seeing, oh my God, is it really that simple to trick people? Look at 9/11. It's a no-brainer. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot get two of the biggest building in the world to fall, free fall speed down from jet fuel and a plane made of aluminum. You cannot. If you don't believe me, take a Coca-Cola bottle, empty it, fill it with jet fuel, turn it on fire, find an armored concrete wall, take this Coca-Cola bottle, which is exactly the same material, smash it up against the wall. If the wall dustifies and disappears into dust, you have proven the official story. I more or less guarantee you nothing will happen. So, and you can, that whole thing, it's like Himmler, no, not Himmler. I forgot which ones of Hitler's colleagues. It was, I think it was Albert Speer actually, who said the bigger the lie, the easier it is to get people to believe it. The smaller the lie, if I say, do you know this? No, they say, oh, come on. But if you say, no, it actually happened, and then you have the whole media that you own to back you up, then no, they couldn't lie about a thing like that. It's simple. No, why would they? Would they really? I say, yeah, they would really. And I hope I answered your question.
It's really interesting because some people, like, I mean, you have done it for 10 times longer than me, or even more. But I've done this so long now. It's maybe this is also why I'm so positive about the future, because I've been around for so long now that I have people that actually rejected me or unfriend me or whatever, and then like 2 years later they apologize and come back, and like it's really interesting. So people really change, and
No,
so
Ronny,
Hmm?
you have really changed.
Yeah, me too.
No, not you too. You have really changed, and this is the change in your energy is now making people come back to you. This, if you look at your life, I don't know many details, but I'm sure if you look, when you go through the different stages of these years that you've been talking about, when people turned their backs on you, when they did, when you got into conflict, when you did, now something has changed inside of you, and when you change inside, the outside will change as well. That's the secret of it. So you change your mind, the rest will follow. So the only one, and this is where I feel the only one you can truly change is yourself. Yeah. Stop trying to change the other ones. I mean, say any woman out there will know, to change their husband, they've tried for years, did not work. I married him, I thought he was a good potential, I just had to change a few things and then he would be perfect. No, you got yourself a doormat. It doesn't work. So the only one that you can really change is you. So work on that. Don't focus on the other ones. And people say, oh, the tipping point, millions and millions of people must, yeah, okay, you can't even change your own spouse. So don't focus on millions, focus on yourself, focus on your mind, purify your mind, make it go align with your actions so that you don't just sit on the sofa and play with your belly button, but that you actually live your truth in action, thought, and intention as well. The intention is super important. So see the way you want the world to become, what you want, and get out of this loop. Corona, mask, vaccine, flat earth, whatever it is, that you get into a loop and start seeing what on the other side of this madness or creativity or whatever it is we're inside now. Let's get out of the loop. What would you like the world to look like on the other side, and then be part of creating that with your mind. See it, feel it, and make your actions go in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Ole, what a fantastic interview. So I really like it because you can go so far out. This is what I really like about it. Because I think our reality is nothing what we thought it was.
No, it's not. At least still confused by a high level. Ronny, you wanted to talk about the flat earth before. You said that before we got on air. And this is an area that I normally avoid because it's a divide thing, because it's unbelievable. Certain areas, when it comes to people that are in this, that have a common interest of conspiracies, what is actually going on behind the scenes. You've got 9/11, that is a total divider, and flat earth is another one. Oh my God. And I believe that the flat earth thing that no one had heard about until a few years ago, and then suddenly it just exploded like this bomb in the whole community all over the world, and suddenly there was a diversion again, boom, split in the middle. Are you, and if you just say, flat earth, my God, people will look upon you. I thought I could believe him, and now he said the earth is flat. I can no longer, I have to disregard. Okay, fine, fair. So I try to avoid that one, because it's, for me, it's like being in a house, the house is on fire. Is it important that I look down the road 4 miles to see, is it flat or is it round? Maybe I should turn out the fire first, then we've got plenty of time to look, is it flat or is it round? What I can tell you is that over the years, though, in the beginning, I thought that is absolute BS, that it's not round, but I have had many questions over the years. It doesn't make any sense. There are things that doesn't make any sense. Why is it the same flight time? When you fly with the world's rotation and against? Why isn't the plane, if it goes against, why don't you just lift off, make it rotate, in a helicopter, go up, wait for it to come to the spot, and then you just land, boom. How easy is that? How can it come the same? It doesn't make any sense. And also the whole thing, the phenomena with this flat and the bow, that I've never seen this whole thing, like even up on with flights, and I see, yeah, it's like that out the window, but then you look at the windows are like that. Why, is this an optical thing or is it not? And also the moon, I must say, the moon, the power of the light that comes from this, they say it's a rock out there, not even a polished, high glossy type of planet. It's dust, and it's reflecting the sun like that, so that it becomes like a massive spotlight down here, and then it changes the size, like whoop, whoop. It can go from day to day. It's this size, and then it's this side. It comes up over there. I don't know if you noticed, it comes up over there, and then the next day you go out to watch it, and then it's over there. How the hell did that happen? In my world, there's something with the moon that is not matching up with the official story, whatever. And so when the whole flat earth came, I thought that's bullshit, but I'll just look at it. And then I was approached by people that was close to me. One of them, a very intelligent guy called Chris Gunner in Costa Rica, who is super, super scientific in many, he is the most advanced person in these areas that I've ever encountered. And he was down in Costa Rica, and he thought that's absolute bullshit with this whole thing. We're going to debunk it big time. So he put together a little group of people, of scientists, where they were going to show this is absolute waste of time. Stop this crap. Now they're more devoted flat earthers than anyone that I know, because every single test they've done has proven the official story not true. There's something very different. Is it flat? I don't think so. Is it some kind of round? What I can tell you is that the radius we're being told, the size of the ball that we're being told, not true, not true, and not true. There's something not correct here.
Maybe it's a better word to say globe skeptical, because I don't even know what the world looks like. Maybe a globe skeptical is a better word. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's just that it's questionable. This is the only thing I'm sure about.
It is big time. It's like, when you look at the optical illusion of, you can see, well, people say, I've seen it, because you see a ship like that, and I see the ship coming, I can see the mast, I can only see the top of the mast, and then the closer it comes, the whole ship starts moving, and you see the ship. Yeah, that is true. But if you take binoculars, the phenomena disappears. Suddenly you can see it the whole time there. What is that? That's very strange. And we used to live near Gibraltar in the south of Spain, so we could see this rock coming up like that. So when we were in Marbella, you could only see the top of the rock. When we got closer, you could see the whole rock. But I tested that thing with the binocular, and it was all there. So it's some kind of weird illusion that is going on. I don't know if it's the atmosphere, the thickness of the air. I have no idea. But there's something there that makes the illusion of it being bent. But I don't think it is, because where we lived also, we lived up in the mountains north of Gibraltar, near a little village called Casares. And we could see in the evening, we could see across the Mediterranean, and we could see Morocco on the other side, where Tangier was, and we could see the mountains. When you calculate the bend of the world, of the globe, we should not be able to see that, but we were. And it was the same in Costa Rica. They were measuring all of these mountains like that. Wrong. It didn't make any sense. I had people in Germany who have also they're hardcore flat earthers, friends of David Weiss that you had on the show not long ago. And they were doing tests in Germany when they went with laser lights. I think they made sort of a chain of people every 20 kilometers with laser lights. And then they just measured the bend. And it didn't make sense. The official story, absolutely not true. So these type of things just say, I don't know, but I know that the official story is not true. And then I know for some reason they're hiding it. And also you go back and you see Copernicus and these old guys that came up with the whole idea, showing us, oh, it's round, it's round. All of them were high Freemasons, high-ranking Freemasons. So why? Maybe because they were trying to make us believe that the universe is so massive, so massive, and you are just totally of no importance. You're just like a grain of sand looking out there. when the actual truth might be that we are the center of our universe, the center of our reality, watching this whole thing, and that we are so important. And that's why they fear us, because we are extremely important, because we can also be part of creation of something that we want, that they don't want us to have.
And it's really interesting because I never ever, maybe flat Earth is not the correct, but to just to think about that, maybe our reality is something else than we are told. And I don't know, I never heard about a person that are thinking like this, that's commonly called flat Earth. I never heard about anyone being in depression, for example. How come? I think my personal point of view is I have no idea what the world looks like, but I'm 100% sure that when we start to think about this and see the world in a different perspective, I've never been happier and more in harmony in my life. And I can imagine that that could be a reason why they absolutely want to hide this from us.
You know, Ronny, many people that are actually totally against anything of, you know, critical thinking in these areas, they believe in organizations like the United Nations. Okay, fair enough. So even if you start looking into the creation of these organizations like the United Nations, you will see that it's the same, very same power structure and families like behind so many of these other power games where they're trying to really push us down and control us. So look at the flag of the United Nations. What flag is that? I mean, do they just fiddle around and let's make a symbol, let's make a logo, we can do it, you just scribble away and yeah, let's take that one? Or do they put in a lot of thought and millions into finding the right logo for whatever it is they're trying to do? Ask anyone in marketing. Millions are spent on logos and symbols and these type of. So what is on the flag of the United Nations? It is the flat Earth. It is the flat Earth map. It's nothing like the official round one. It's the flat Earth. Why are they doing it? Why would they do it? Then you look at there's old Tibetan maps, you know, really, really old ones that are so old that have the same continents as we have, but also continents on the outside, where sort of like it seems like, and suddenly the angle, the curvature of this globe, I believe, if you make it a lot bigger, then suddenly the angles start making sense in my world, my limited understanding.
Interesting.
Is that possible, that part of a much bigger globe, which that would be amazing? And can you imagine, like, whoa, so many more places to go and see and learn from. Anyway, that a certain area has put on sort of like a dome, for instance, as a test area. Okay, let's just put a dome and let's just lock this area off. We block it, we control temperature, air in, out. We can do whatever we want to see this species called the humans. How much can they take? You know, let's put it up, let's press it up, let's do whatever. Is that what is going on? And also, if you look at the South Pole, we are being told it's a globe. You got the North Pole, a lot of ice, not a lot going up there, you know. And then you got the South Pole, which is said to be the exact opposite. Lots of ice, not a lot going on up there, under there. But how many nations have signed military contracts of making people not being able to go there? It's heavily guarded by military. All kinds of deals have been signed, security this, security that, so that you cannot go down there. If you are talking about going down there. Also, why are there no companies, oil drilling companies, nothing down there? There should be massive amounts of minerals and oils and uranium, you may name it. Why are they not doing it? Oh, because it's cold. Really? Do you think that would stop them? I mean, look up at Alaska and the gold rush and oil and you name it. What is going on? And it seems like if the flat Earth is right, then the South Pole is actually the whole surrounding going all the way around, and the North Pole is just a tiny little ice cap in the middle. And that the reason why we're not allowed to go down there is just like Truman Show. You cannot go out, you cannot. And then he did. He took his boat and then he hit the wall.
It's interesting how people, you know, because we how our society works. For example, that we build this called gated communities. I'm going to leave you with this question because since everything is turned upside down, it could also. I can imagine. I wouldn't be surprised that we actually build ourselves some kind of gated community and to stop the outside world somehow. I don't know. Maybe because we need to develop more as a human being or whatever. But I'm not even. Because for many years I thought that we were like trapped, but it could be the opposite as well. That the powers that be actually made this like a gated community of some reason. I don't know, but it's interesting that as you know, that like we behave in a little part of a town, for example, that we build fences and stuff like this. And if you like try to see everything in a bigger perspective, it could also be something like this. I don't know, but it's so interesting to discuss these topics anyway.
For sure, but maybe these forces that are very considerate and loving, you know, saying we do it for you, but when you look at their actions, it's very often the other way around. It's very psychopathic and hardcore, not very nice. I mean, this is the thing. If these vaccines, for instance, were rolled out and you know, by Buddha-like individuals who said the hum, you know, and with this you see, and I will do it myself. I'll do it totally. I don't want to earn any money whatsoever. It's just for the benefit of humanity. If that was we saw, then I would say, yeah, go for it. Maybe at least I would be open for it. But here we see hardcore business super psychopaths that are behind the same power structure all the time, trying to control you, trying to shut you down, trying to do anything, even try to get rid of like 2/3 of us because they think we're too many to control. They call us useless eaters and stuff like that. When you look at that reality, pretty ugly. But if you look at it as a movie, where you want drama, then you need villains, you need horror, you need serial killers, you need all of that. Otherwise, you would be bored to tears. So, does it spice life up? Yeah, my God, I'm in the middle of a zombie movie at the moment. I didn't know I even signed up for this. I'm sort of like, what the hell? I thought, you know, I tell you, a year and a half ago, I thought we were so close to game over, where the New World Order would just legs up in the air and say, we've had it, and then boom, Corona happened. So what actually happened, was it that we just came to another level of this game of life, the Matrix? Because many people that I've spoken to were just about the same. They were just about to take a major step in their life. And suddenly they came into this reality. It was like, when nothing what you did yesterday or the year before counts anymore. It's a whole new ball game. And the only thing that you can bring with you into this game is your experience, the mental stability, the physical and the psychological stress, for power that you have, and spiritual muscles you have. That's the only thing you can bring with you, but it's a whole new ball game. And you know, I'm a bit confused sometimes because it looks very different to what I had prepared myself for.
I mean, just for example, after this interview, when we go out and do whatever we do today, I mean, is it right or is it wrong to feel? I feel sorry for all the people that it's not in that's, you know, like they take depression pills, and I feel like I've never been happy in my life, and I don't know how to reach them, and maybe it's not even meant to be. I don't know, but I'm just so grateful that I met people like you and other people that I can talk with and you know, like about this stuff, because it's really improving my life. It's like completely.
This is the thing, Ronny. Just don't worry about them. Worry about your action, or don't worry at all. But focus on your action and your intentions, and then spread what you want to spread in life, which I feel coming from your heart is goodness, caring, compassion, forgiveness. Live these values, and then see how life starts flowering around you. You go into fear mode, see how it starts dying around you, and then you start you experimenting and start seeing, whoa, I like it here, I don't like it there, and then stay more there. And because we're being tested big times, I mean, here it's like tomorrow there could be, there is not that many days, there were tanks in the streets here, you know. So how to deal with it, you know, every time they knock on the door, who are they going to get us? Are they going to, or yeah, could be, or at least I tell you, it ain't over till it's over. And I for sure am just going to stay focused as long as I can in this feeling and do my best in interviews like that, reach as many as possible that is interested in being reached, and then take care of my family, enjoy, and stay in gratitude, stay in gratitude, stay in gratitude, you know, just because it's like when we're at that high frequency, that is where we are hard to reach from the lower.
Absolutely.
So Ronny, I would very much like to say thank you so much to you. And then if it's okay, I would like to finish with a prayer. Just like you, I'm not religious. I think that religion is so often used as a control mechanism, which I don't like. I don't like people being controlled, myself neither. So, but we're all spiritual beings playing in our meat suits, trying to do our best. So the prayer goes like this. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. That's the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May everyone, and especially the ones who hurt us, be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the light of truth overcome all darkness. So victory to that light. The thing is, without these villains, without these super psychopaths, we wouldn't have met Ronny. So many other people I would never have met. I wouldn't have been on that train. I would still have been asleep, you know, whatever you want to call it. So indirectly, on a higher level, and it's just like in my book, Remind Me, I call them black angels, you know, because they take on a lot of heavy duty karma, bad karma on their shoulders, helping us to evolve as spiritual beings. Without them, it's like a gym. Without the weights, then no muscle. You can lie there, no muscles. You put on the weight, boom, suddenly you start building up. And so it's like I say, judge the sin, not the sinner. So the sins, they can fuck off. And the sinner, I will not judge. I will be grateful indirectly, because the worst assholes in your lives is the best teachers. That is it.
Very true, very true.
And with that, I'm going to bugger off because I've got another meeting.
Okay. What an honor to have you on the show, Ole. And until next time, take care. And it was a fantastic moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ronny. Thank you.